Aloha everyone, this is Dr. Richard Jones and I want to welcome you to MET 209 Climate Studies here at UH West Oahu. I'm sure that there are a few things that you are a little bit overwhelmed about because of this class is online. So we're going to go ahead and start with all of the different pieces to the puzzle. First off, you're going to need to access the La Lima site for MET 209. This is basically what it looks like. We have our menu over here on the left side. There'll be announcements, resources, we'll get to that. Assignments, perhaps. There will be assignments, tests, and surveys. We'll talk about that and so on and so forth. You'll also notice that there are a couple of links that are hyperlinks. These are to the portal. You will be purchasing a access to the portal with your investigation manual and e-text. This will be your own private password and access code in order to get into it. But there is the link material right here. There's our link. And so when you click on the link, it's going to say relaunch page in new window. You're going to see something that looks like this. You'll enter the username that you're purchased as well as your password. And that'll take you to the website that we'll be using. But before we get to that website, let's take a real quick look at the resource area. So within the resource area, you will find resources for all 14 chapters. You click on these. Inside there's a PowerPoint. This PowerPoint is, in essence, the lecture material. This is where the questions for the midterm will reside, or the final, depending on what half of the class we're in. The midterm will be roughly chapters 1 through 7. The final will be 8 through 14. So you don't need to worry about that. As I build these resource areas up, there'll be more material here. Currently, you'll see it says chapter 01, current progress questions. That's what that is chapter progress questions. When you click on that, there are 15, in this case, 15 questions. And these come right out of the textbook. Each week, you're going to have questions like this for each of the 14 chapters. You do not need to worry about printing these unless you want to. I will provide them to you. There'll be another location to find them as well. Then what you're going to need to do is you're going to go to, and of course this isn't opened at this point, but you'll have a view. Let me change the view to student view. Student view. In student view, see, no assignments are available at this time because I haven't opened them yet. As soon as they're open to you, you will have chapter 1 progress right here. That's the chapter out of the textbook. You'll have investigations A and B, as well as the current climate studies. You may ask, where do I get all this stuff? Well, I will provide you with answer sheets for all 4 of these in the resource folder, but you'll also be able to access them in a couple different places. So let's move away from the La Lima for the time being. And once you've accessed the portal, you will have a screen that looks very similar to this. There'll always be 3 chapters available. Right now you can see chapters 1, 2, and 3 are open. This is the location for the answer forms for the investigations. There's the investigation, and it's radio button done, so it's pretty straightforward. That's for investigation 1A, investigation 1B. And then, of course, we have current climate studies answer form. These will also be posted for you into the resource folder. The most critical part will be this current climate studies. Current climate studies are the questions that go with those answers. It's very straightforward. There'll be questions that talk about, for example, the term system, so on and so forth. There will be some short answer, but primarily these are going to be all multiple choice questions for you. And that's why I set them up with using assignments, tasks, and surveys so that you can actually just answer with clicking on a button. So this is each week. You're going to need to do the current climate studies. This is for Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. In another couple of weeks, it'll be Chapter 2, 3, 4, and then 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. So over the next few weeks, you're going to notice that these chapters disappear, the earlier chapters. If you get lost, get behind, get confused, have to go off island, whatnot, there'll be an archive link in the upper left. And you click on the archive link and you go to spring 2017, which is what we are. You're going to see that we have actually materials. But you'll notice right down here, week 4 has not been posted yet. That's because week 4 we haven't got the materials yet. So that's part of this course, is the current aspect of it. So we're only going to have 3 weeks going at a time, and that'll be the current material. So somebody will ask me, I know it's inevitable, could you post Chapter 4, the answer sheet? And the answer is I can't until we actually have the questions ready to go. This is a nationwide effort, and we like to keep it as current as possible. So the questions for Chapter 4 from last semester are not going to be the same as the Chapter 4 questions this semester. So that keeps it a little bit more up to date. So this is your real-time climate portal, which you'll be purchasing your access for. You may have a question about where the investigation questions and the chapter questions come from. Well, those are going to be coming from the book that you buy. You can buy the book, you can buy an access code from the UH West Oahu Library, or you can go directly to the website, which is at AMS.edu, which is American Meteorological Society Education Program. Go to their bookstore, and my recommendation is that you buy the Climate Studies Student e-package. While it is a lot of money, it has the access that you're going to need to everything. You have to make some decisions when you purchase it. You can either purchase a web book, which is completely online, or an ebook. The ebook, while the web book allows you to access the material from any computer or smart device online, the EPUB is actually a publication that you would need to use something like a Kindle or your whatever you use as an e-reader. You can actually buy them together if you wish. It's a little bit more expensive, and if you're one of those people like myself that likes to actually have a tangible feeling book in your hand, you can pay quite a bit more money and have a soft cover produced for you, but it'll take about 2 weeks for them to ship it to you. I really recommend the package for you. There's the entire thing. You can add it to your cart however you want to do it. It's just up to you. What does it actually look like? Well, that's a good question. So you're going to end up with 2 different books or documents, as it were. You're going to end up with a textbook. And in the textbook, this is where the chapter progress questions are going to be coming from. You'll see that there's chapters. So Chapter 1, the 15 questions for Chapter 1 aligns with Chapter 1 here. And we can just go right to it. And you're going to see how there's no questions specifically highlighted in this, but the questions that you'll have on your chapter progress fall in order, in essence. So there's quite a bit of information here. But standard, you just read to the end of the chapter. My recommendation is that you actually have your questions with you as you read. It makes it much easier. You can skim instead of doing a lot of hunting and pecking. So once you've finished reading your chapter, then you do not, well, this is really important, you do not answer the chapter review questions unless you want to review using these 4 the midterm. Because the questions that I'll be asking you are not these review questions. The questions that I'm asking you are actually, I think, quite a bit easier, that will be on the chapter progress. You will also not need to worry about the critical thinking questions. These are for your own use. The Climate Studies Investigation Manual, this is similar to the e-text. It's also electronic. I was in the process of actually writing up the questions not too long ago for it, for your answer sheet. But let's take a look at Chapter 1, Chapter 1A. So there are two parts, 1A and 1B. This is actually a lot more interactive. You can link on you'll notice that there's the hyperlinks placed within it. So there's this image. This image is figure 1. There are questions that are addressing it. Here's your question. There's your choices. You'll have an answer sheet through La Lima, through the assignments, tests, and surveys link that will allow you to, you'll see this very question, and then there'll be the choices as multiple choice. There are all kinds of links, but the questions are addressing everything that you're seeing. You're going to be looking at images and whatnot. There's 2 investigations for each chapter. So this is investigation A, and then here's investigation B. This is talking about using climate model and how energy is absorbed by the atmosphere. You'll actually have the CCEM, and you'll be using this tool, which is available on the real-time portal. It's going to allow you to answer some questions. So when we talk about the real-time portal, we'll go back to that. You'll notice that there's resource materials down here. One of the things that you're going to be using is a climate model. And this is the AMS Conceptual Climate Energy Model. And then this, very similar to what you were looking at in the textbook. It'll ask you to use this. And you're going to be setting your energy, your albedo, the current atmosphere, the energy units, the cycles, introductory mode. There's also a random mode. So if I were to do 500, and do it in random mode, and I hit run, it's going to start out somewhat slow, and then it's done, boom. And it gives you the number of cycles, it gives you all kinds of information, mean, standard deviations. If I go back to 100 and do introductory and run it, it's a little bit easier to follow, and you can actually see the graph. The graph shows how much energy is retained at the Earth's surface and how much is lost into space and how much remains in the atmosphere. But this is for a standard atmosphere. You'll have the opportunity to increase, once this runs, you can increase the atmosphere carbon dioxide, which is really kind of cool. So you get your data, there's your data. If we go here, we're going to make it warmer. 100 years from now, we double the amount of carbon dioxide, and we hit run, and we should see that there's going to be more energy held at the Earth's surface. So this is one of the tools that you'll be using in this class. Okay. There's a lot of other materials that you'll have here, and every chapter there'll be references to some of these links, and this is part of your current climate access, your portal, as it were. All right, we don't need to worry about that. We'll take a look back here, and again, as I said, within the assignments, tests, and surveys, you'll have, for example, oh, here I'm giving away the answers. Look at that. The answer to 1 is C for current climate studies response. These are the questions that you're going to get, and it'll be set up that way. It'll instantly grade it for you. So if you have questions for me regarding how to access materials, I encourage you to email me or call my office. My office extension is 808-689-2340, and I'm in E125 on the first floor in the laboratory building. I look forward to working with you. I hope that this introductory video helped you a little bit. And believe me, the first couple weeks are kind of a challenge because there's an awful lot of material to get your hands around. It's not hard, it's just learning a new method for accessing data. So I look forward to working with you, and we'll have a great semester. And please contact me anytime that you need help.